Hello, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of Targeting AI from AI Business. We are here once again with Wang, who is here from AWS reInvent. How are you doing, Ray?
I'm doing great. You're live in the middle of it. We're here at the Venetian, and if you can tell, there's 60,000 people walking behind me.
Yeah, sounds exciting.
Nice. So, what's your reaction to these new Trainium AI chips from AWS? Are they going to put Nvidia out of business?
No, they're not going to put Nvidia out of business. The demand is huge. If we look at the trillions of dollars that are going to be spent by 2030, this is piece of the equation. People are going to have chips as they need to get them, whether they're Trainium chips or whether you're doing inference or whether you're doing other pieces. But it's an important part of the ecosystem. If you're using a vertically integrated AWS stack, it's going to save you money. It's going to bring you better costs and you give you a cheaper option. Just like Google, if you're going chip to app with TPUs, same thing. Microsoft is going to have to come up with chips. I guess that's really what we're talking about. No,
What about the AWS claim that they're faster for inference and faster for this and more powerful than some Nvidia chips? Is that just regular claims from big vendors?
No, I mean, these are real things. I mean, if you do a fully integrated stack, you're always going to get efficiencies versus something that's all piecemealed in because, a fully integrated stack is optimized. But you're going to have so many different use cases. If you look inside AWS in general, there are tons of use cases all across the board, whether you're in the infrastructure side or whether you're actually using on the app side, you're going to have so many different kind of combinations. AWS has always been about giving customers a lot of choice.
I see that a lot in a lot of the things that they announced today. Just to do a little bit of a wider lens, we had the ANOVA models, we had choices in terms of like more open weight models and Bedrock. What do you think are the most exciting announcements that, enterprises should really pay attention to and focus on?
Well, if you're a developer, the Nova models are important. If you think about Nova Forge, Nova 2 Omni, if you think about what they're doing with the ability to give you those pre-built models, that's what customers want at the end of the day. They want as much pre-built as they can, and then they want to go customize the crap out of these things. And that's really the point, is really give me as much so I can build quicker. We're at a point where it's cheaper to build than it is to buy. And AWS is making that possible for us. You saw the agent policy, you saw the evaluation tools, but for me, it's the frontier agents that are going to have a lot of impact on businesses, especially the DevOps agent. Your ability to take old code, turn it around. The ability, if you're stuck on VMware and you're unhappy, you have a way out now using what AWS has, using what Nutanix has. There's like options now. That is one of the most important breakthroughs, and you're going to see more of these frontier agents over time.
I do wonder though, with all of these agents, how would you say that all of the ways that AWS is given choices, how are they comparing to their competitors like Google, like Microsoft?
Well, I think it's different, right? AWS is for developers, and that's really what companies are looking for. But if you're an ISV, you're going to actually optimize between Microsoft and Google Cloud. If you're actually a consulting firm, you can use all three because your customers are going to sit across all these different areas. I think what we're going to see next year, the two big buzzwords are going to be frontier and it's going to be agentic AI, but it's not just regular agentic AI. It's cross-platform, multi-agentic AI, agents that sit on ServiceNow and Salesforce in AWS and working with your on-prem system. And the governance aspect becomes really important. The identity, the security, your ability to actually manage those agents, that's where people are going to be paying the big bucks to be able to actually do that seamlessly.
Going back to the Trainiums for 1 second, are AWS and Nvidia still in a good relationship because AWS is still a big customer of Nvidia?
Oh, totally. You saw the announcement right early in the keynote where they talked about the fact that they've got the easiest place to run NVIDIA GPUs. And customers who are actually, if you've ever seen a AWS data center, you know that it's optimized from not just the heat, the performance, it's really how build your foundational models on there. And what they've been able to show over time is, they're doing that at the same time as adding 3.8 gigawatts of capacity on Trainium. I mean, this is all happening at the same time. So what does that tell us? We are not in an AI bubble, folks. I mean, there's so much demand that supply is not meeting demand capacity. And that's why they're adding all these data centers. They're adding all these gigawatts everywhere.
Because they mentioned the AI factories, right? Are they kind of behind on AI factories, would you say, right?
I would say that AI factories are something they needed to do earlier and they didn't. Now they have them. But why is that important? The AI factory is going to allow them to actually address the sovereign AI issue. How do we actually get these into different countries? Just like when they started adjusting the federal government's requirements for security. I mean, this is basically an extension of that. They were early there, but they fell behind. Now they're catching up.
Is there anything that you wish you had seen today that you didn't see?
I wanted to see more of the old school Andy Jassy announcements, right? I wanted like going deep in this. I wouldn't have mind a 3-hour keynote with like every single release, but I did appreciate the fact that the last, they had made 25 announcements in like 5 minutes or something like that towards the end, right? I mean, it got some punch, right? I mean, the biggest challenge in the past was the fact that there'd be a million announcements and you had to pick the one that you like. At least they tried to keep the announcements, the high level ones there, and then they threw the slew of announcements toward the end.
That's true. One last question before Esther wraps. So AWS is still the top cloud provider. So have they come up to par in AI with their tech giant competitors, or are they still just the top cloud provider with some AI options?
I think they actually are getting their footing. Just as kind of like the conversation we would have had a year and a half ago, is Google behind on AI? Well, no, Google actually has really good AI. They just haven't put all their resources towards getting AI for use for the customers. In a year and a half, you'd say Google is now ahead in AI. And so I think AWS is going through that same thing. They're trying to understand how to use AI internally, and more importantly, trying to figure out what it means for their customers. And I think a lot of these announcements, one would say they're catch-up announcements. On the other hand, you said they've had to do these, right? These are what customers are asking for. And it's not like they fell behind by a year or two. It's just that they're trying to figure out how to actually bring this to market in a way that makes every persona they have. I mean, you got developers, you got ISVs, you got resellers, you got folks that are, kind of in between all that. And really, with the market changing so fast. But if you go and look at the startups that are building on AWS, you know that a lot of the hot startups all start on AWS. And that's the good news. And now that they've got these AI tools and a whole ecosystem behind it, it's going to make it a lot easier.
Well, thank you so much, Ray. Thank you for joining us live from re-event. Please, everyone, go check out his X account because I'm sure he's going to be tweeting or posting all throughout the event, as well as check out Constellation Research, where they have a lot of research coming out. Please also look out for AI Business, where we're going to have a full cover of all the things that are coming out of re-event. Thank you, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Thanks, Ray.
Yes.